Welcome to our deep dive. We're getting you ready for a residential home older adult care worker interview.
These interviews, they can be tough.
Yeah, for sure.
But, don't worry, we've got a ton of resources from RoleCatcher to help us out.
Totally. Career guides, interview guides, they've got it all.
Oh, and don't forget their AI platform.
What?
We'll talk about that a bit later, yeah.
Definitely. So let's jump right in. What makes a candidate shine in this field?
Well, first off, you got to understand that this job, it's a really special blend of skills.
Okay, like what?
You need that hands-on care, but also a deep understanding of how people age. It's not just about their physical needs, right?
Right.
It's their emotional well-being, their social lives, all of that.
So let's say you're in the interview,
Yeah.
right? And they ask you, tell me about your experience working with older adults.
Yes, the classic.
What if you haven't had a formal job in this area?
Totally. I think everyone gets nervous about this one. But even if you've just cared for a family member or volunteered, that all counts.
Boy.
Oh, yeah. It's all about those transferable skills.
Okay.
Did you ever manage medications?
Mm-hmm.
Did you create like a stimulating environment for someone? Or maybe even just provide companionship? That all matters. Because the interviewer, they want to see your heart. Do you really care about older adults?
Makes sense. So let's say you do have some certifications, like a CNA or CDP.
Those are big ones.
Yeah, those are impressive.
Huge. And just so everyone's clear, CNA, that certified nursing assistant, it's all about that direct care.
Okay.
And CDP, certified dementia practitioner, that shows you have specific knowledge about dementia.
Got it.
Mentioning these early on, it's like, boom, you're showing you're serious about this.
Right. Shows commitment. So you've nailed that experience question.
Okay.
Now, they ask, how do you ensure the safety and well-being of residents beyond the obvious?
Oh, that's a good one.
What are they getting at there?
It's all about thinking deeper,
Deeper.
Yeah, like anyone can say full prevention,
Right.
but they want to see you really think.
Yeah, so what would be a good answer?
Talk about regularly checking in on the residents, noticing any changes in their physical or mental condition, or actively trying to prevent them from being isolated.
Oh, that's good.
And of course, knowing all the latest safety rules, that's huge.
So it's like being a detective almost.
Exactly. You're always on the lookout, making sure everyone is safe and sound.
Right. Okay, let's get into a tougher question. How would you handle difficult behaviors or situations with a resident?
Oh, yeah, that one can be tricky.
Definitely.
I bet they're looking for someone who can stay calm, right?
Yeah, for sure. Somebody doesn't get flustered easily.
Right. The key here is to show them you can de-escalate things, but you also got to stay empathetic.
Yeah, that's tough sometimes.
It is. Don't get defensive. Focus on talking it out and finding a solution. Think about a time you had to calm someone down who was agitated or confused. Share that story.
Stories are powerful.
So powerful. Now, before we forget, I want to touch on something that can really help with this whole interview process.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
RoleCatcher's AI.
Oh, right. We mentioned that earlier.
It's amazing, honestly.
What did it do?
It's like having a personal interview coach right there on your computer.
Wow.
You type in your answer, and the AI looks it over.
Really?
Yeah. It gives you tips, suggests ways to make it even better.
That's incredible.
Like, it might tell you to use specific words that match the job description,
Wow. So it's super tailored to that job.
Exactly. It's not just some generic advice. This is the real deal.
Okay, so back to the interview. Let's say they ask, how do you ensure residents are engaged and stimulated? We all know it's not just bingo, right?
Oh, absolutely not.
But what are they looking for here?
Well, they want to see that you get it, You understand that each resident is an individual.
Okay.
So do you organize outings, maybe? Creative workshops?
I like that.
Or even use, technology to help them connect with their families. Think outside the box.
That's a good point. And I feel like showing you're passionate about these ideas is important too.
Oh, 100%. If you're excited, they'll be excited.
Enthusiasm is contagious.
Yeah.
Okay, let's tackle another common question. How do you handle conflicts or disagreements with other staff members?
Oh, the teamwork question.
Yeah, conflicts happen everywhere, right?
Oh, for sure.
So how do you talk about this without sounding like you're gossiping or bad-mouthing anyone?
It's all about how you approach it.
Okay.
Focus on your skills, how you communicate, how you listen to other people's points of view.
And how you find a solution that works for everyone.
Exactly. Did you ever have to, mediate a conflict? Or compromise for the sake of the residents? Share that story.
Stories are everything. So it's all about being a team player, even when things get tough.
Absolutely. Now, here's one that's really important. How do you ensure residents receive culturally appropriate care?
That's a good one, especially with our aging population becoming more and more diverse.
Right, right. You got to be aware of different customs, beliefs, values, the whole 9 yards.
So how do you show that in an interview?
Well, think about a time when you adapted your approach to fit someone's cultural needs. Maybe a resident had specific dietary needs or religious practices you had to accommodate. Share those experiences.
Okay.
It shows you're not just talking about diversity, you're actually living it.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, next up, a time management question. How do you prioritize your workload and make sure every resident gets the care they need?
The juggling act.
Right.
This one is all about organization and efficiency.
So like what kind of system do you use to track everything?
Yeah. Do you have a planner? A to-do list? How do you talk to your team? How do you delegate tasks?
They want someone who doesn't crack under pressure.
For sure. Things can change so quickly in this job.
You got to be ready for anything.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm curious about RoleCatcher's AI again. How would it help me refine my answer to this kind of question?
Imagine typing out your response, and the AI is like, hold up, you can make this even better.
Really?
Yeah, it might say, add a real-life example of how you handled a crazy busy day.
Oh, I see.
You know, to really show you can stay organized when things get wild.
That's so cool.
It's like having a second pair of eyes, catching things you might have missed.
That's amazing.
Oh.
Okay, before we move on to more questions, let's zoom out a bit.
Okay.
This isn't just a job, is it?
Nope, it's a whole career path.
And I bet knowing that and showing that you know that can really impress an interviewer.
Absolutely. They want someone who's in it for the long haul.
So what does that path look like?
Well, you could start as a, residential home, older adult care worker, then move up to senior care worker, then maybe care supervisor.
Wow.
And eventually even care manager.
That's incredible.
Right.
And can you specialize along the way?
Oh, yeah. There are so many different areas you could focus on. Dementia care, rehabilitation, anything that sparks your interest.
I love that.
And continuous learning is key. Certifications, workshops, staying up to date on all the new research.
Always learning.
Exactly.
It shows you're really dedicated to this field.
And interviewers love that.
All right, well, we've covered a lot of ground in this first part of our deep dive, but we've still got plenty more interview questions and insights to uncover.
So much more.
Ready to keep going.
Oh, I'm ready. All right, you ready for some more interview practice?
Bring it on. I'm feeling more confident already.
That's what I like to hear. So let's say the hiring manager asks, how do you ensure that residents have a sense of autonomy and independence in their daily lives?
Ooh, that's a good one. It's about more than just like doing things for them, right?
Exactly. It's about respecting that even in a care setting, they still want to have control over their own lives.
Right, right. So how do I show that I understand that?
We'll start by talking about how you respect each resident's preferences, even if it takes a little longer or you have to be flexible.
Okay, like if they want to dress themselves, even if it takes a while.
Exactly. You support them in doing that.
That makes sense. It's about finding that balance between helping them and letting them do things on their own.
Exactly. And don't forget to mention how you involve residents in decisions about their care.
Oh, that's important.
Huge. Talk about resident councils or feedback mechanisms that give them a voice.
Okay.
And think about the environment itself.
The environment.
Yeah, like are there easy-to-use assistive devices? Are the pathways clear? Do they have opportunities to do things that keep them active and engaged?
So it's about creating a space that actually encourages independence, not just talking about it.
Exactly. Okay, ready for a question that often makes people nervous?
Hit me with it.
How do you handle conflicts or disagreements with other staff members?
Ah, yeah, that's a tough one.
It's bound to happen at some point.
Well, definitely. People don't always see eye to eye.
Right. But the interviewer isn't looking for you to gossip or badmouth anyone. They want to see how you handle those situations professionally.
So what should I focus on?
Your communication skills, your ability to listen to different perspectives, and how you find solutions that work for everyone.
So instead of talking about a specific conflict, I could just talk about the general steps I take to resolve disagreements.
Exactly. You could say something like, I believe in open and honest communication. When conflicts arise, I actively listen to all sides, try to understand their viewpoints, and work towards a resolution that benefits both the team and, most importantly, the residents.
Okay, I like that. And it's important to emphasize that I'm a team player, right?
Absolutely. You're all there for the same reason, to provide the best possible care. Now let's talk about a question that's becoming increasingly important as our society becomes more diverse.
Okay, what's that?
How do you ensure residents receive culturally appropriate care?
That's a big one. It's more than just knowing a few different customs, right?
You got it. It's about having a deep understanding and respect for different cultures.
So how do I convey that in an interview?
Share your personal experiences. Have you ever adapted your caregiving approach to meet the specific cultural needs of a resident?
Hmm. Like what kind of things?
Maybe you learned a few phrases in another language, or incorporated their preferred dietary customs, or facilitated their religious practices.
Oh, I see. So I should be ready with a specific example of how I've done that in the past.
Exactly. It shows that you're not just aware of diversity, but you actually put it into action. And don't forget to mention any ongoing efforts you're making to expand your cultural competence.
Like attending workshops or reading about different cultures.
Exactly. It demonstrates your commitment to continuous learning. Okay, ready for another logistical question?
Yeah, bring it on.
How do you prioritize your workload and ensure you meet all the needs of the residents in your care?
That sounds like a test of my organizational skills and my ability to stay calm when things get crazy.
You nailed it. It's all about how you structure your day and manage your time.
So I should talk about my process for staying organized.
Exactly. Do you use a planner, a to-do list, a specific system for tracking resident needs? Mention those tools and explain how they help you stay on top of everything.
Okay. And what about those times when things get really hectic? How do I show that I can handle unexpected situations and still make sure everyone's needs are met?
That's where your flexibility and problem-solving skills come in. You could say something like, I prioritize tasks based on urgency and importance. I am also a strong communicator and delegate responsibilities when needed, and I'm always willing to adjust my plans when unexpected situations arise because resident well-being is my top priority.
So it's a combination of planning, adaptability, and teamwork.
You got it. Now remember, RoleCatcher's AI.
Oh yeah, our secret weapon.
Exactly. Let's say you're struggling to articulate your prioritization process. RoleCatcher's AI could suggest adding a specific example of a time you successfully juggled multiple tasks.
To show that I can stay organized under pressure.
Exactly. Or it might recommend incorporating keywords from the job description, like proactive or efficient.
To make sure my answer aligns with what they're looking for.
You got it. It's all about using every tool at your disposal to craft the perfect response.
That AI is pretty amazing. Okay, let's dive into a question that really gets at the heart of caregiving.
All right, I'm ready. What is it?
How do you ensure residents receive emotional support and companionship in addition to physical care?
Oh, that's a great one. It's all about recognizing that their emotional well-being is just as important as their physical health.
So it's about seeing them as whole people, not just patients.
Exactly. Start by talking about how you build rapport with residents. Do you take the time to get to know them, learn about their interests, listen to their stories?
Yeah, I think those little things make a big difference, like remembering their birthdays or asking about their families.
Absolutely. It shows that you care.
Yeah.
And don't underestimate the power of just listening. Sometimes that's all someone needs.
What about activities? Are there specific things I should mention that help create a sense of community and connection?
You could talk about organizing group outings, game nights, movie nights, or even just encouraging residents to share meals together and chat.
I love the idea of resident-led activities, too. Maybe they could share their hobbies with each other.
That's a fantastic idea. It's all about empowering residents and making them feel like they belong.
Okay, let's shift gears and talk about professional development.
Okay. I'm always up for learning new things.
Me too. So how would I answer this question? What steps are you taking to stay up to date on the latest developments in older adult care?
This is your chance to shine as a lifelong learner. Don't just say, I read articles online. Be specific.
So I should mention specific journals or websites.
Exactly. And talk about attending industry conferences, taking online courses, or even pursuing advanced certifications.
Like I mentioned earlier, I'm actually working towards my Certified Dementia Practitioner certification right now.
That's amazing. Sharing your personal goals for professional development shows that you're invested in this field and dedicated to providing the best possible care.
Okay, I think that's a good reminder to end on. Always be learning and growing.
Couldn't agree more. Okay, ready to tackle a few more questions?
Absolutely, let's do it.
Okay, ready for our final round of interview questions.
Let's do it. I'm feeling pretty prepared now.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So let's say they ask, can you tell me about a time you had to adapt your approach to meet the specific needs of a resident?
That's a tricky one.
It is, but it's a great opportunity to really showcase your skills,
What kind of skills?
your problem-solving skills,
Yeah.
your flexibility, your creativity. They want to know that you can think on your feet and figure things out.
Okay, so how do I answer that?
Think about a time when you had to adjust your communication style or modify an activity or, just come up with a creative solution to a challenging situation.
Oh, I remember working with a resident who had difficulty communicating after a stroke.
Okay.
I had to learn to use visual aids and simpler language, and it took a lot of patience. But seeing them light up when they finally understood it was incredible.
That's a perfect example. It shows you're adaptable and that you really care. Okay, let's move on to a question about community building.
Okay.
How do you promote a sense of community and belonging among residents?
That's so important, especially for older adults who might not have as many social connections.
Exactly. Think about the activities you could mention, things that encourage interaction,
It's like outings.
Yes, or movie nights, game nights, even just creating a cozy space where they can gather and chat.
I love the idea of resident-led activities, too.
Oh, that's great.
Maybe they could teach each other their hobbies or skills.
Like a knitting group or a book club.
Exactly.
It's about making them feel empowered and connected.
Okay, how about this question? What steps are you taking to stay up to date on the latest developments in older adult care?
Ah, the lifelong learning question. This is where you show them you're always growing and improving.
Right. So I shouldn't just say, I read articles online.
No, be more specific. Mention professional journals, websites, conferences you've attended, online courses you've taken.
Oh, and certifications.
Yes.
Speaking of, I'm actually working on becoming a certified dementia practitioner.
That's fantastic. It shows you're really dedicated to this field.
Well, I'm always eager to learn more.
And that's exactly what they want to hear.
Okay, before we wrap up, I want to circle back to RoleCatcher's AI platform.
Oh, yeah. We haven't mentioned that in a while.
We talked about the resume help, but how does it help with interview prep?
Okay, so imagine this. You type in your answer to a practice question, and RoleCatcher's AI analyzes it based on the specific job you're applying for.
Oh.
It'll give you tips, suggest ways to make your answer stronger, highlight your key skills.
That's incredible.
It even recommends using specific keywords from the job description.
So it's super tailored.
Exactly. It gives you that extra edge.
Amazing. Well, I think we've covered a lot of ground today.
We have. You're going to rock that interview.
I feel a lot more confident now, that's for sure.
That's what we like to hear.
Thanks for all the tips and advice.
Of course, happy to help.
And to all our listeners out there, we want to leave you with one final thought. Imagine you're designing the ideal residential home for older adults.
Ooh, I like this.
What would you include to make it a truly amazing place to live?
Get creative.
Think about it, and maybe even share your ideas with us on social media. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the world of residential home, older adult care workers.
It's been fun.
Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep making a difference.